recording in. There we go. All right. They can hear us. Basically, the show has begun. You nervous?
I am here.
Disclaimer. We're going to be talking about adult things. Send your kids out of the room. Welcome to the Lions After Dark. We are your hosts, Cassidy Lightwing and Melanie Renee Watkins.
Hello, everybody.
So, the first thing I'd like to say is welcome to the first episode of our more adult-oriented show. We're not going to be talking about sexually explicit stuff much, but I would like to open up the very first show by saying happy birthday, Melanie Renee Watkins.
Thank you.
How old are you?
I am $28.99. $20.99.
There we go. That's how we look at it. And I gotta say, you look fantastic. The extra time for you to get ready was well spent. Oh my God. So, Melanie, tell us a little bit about yourself. See, folks, for those of you who are regulars to my shows, this is the legendary Melanie Renee Watkins, the one I've been telling you about. I always come to her for all of my astrological and numerological. You say it.
Astrological and numerology, or
What she said.
astrology and numerology, and well, there's other things that I do as well. But yes, I am a professional astrologer and numerologist. I have been doing astrology for over 20 years. I've been doing numerology for a good 15. I do consider myself a mystic. I am a metaphysical practitioner. So let's see. I have been doing this for 2 decades, being a mystic. It's much more of a less derogatory term than like psychic or like it's just mystic sounds so much better. Let's see here. I do own my own business I work from home. I do consulting, mentoring. I also do have an online course for astrology. I do teach astrology. I also have a study group, Akashic Astrology. My astrological page is Waterbury Inc.'s Age of Aquarius, and my business page is Mystical and Vibrations. I also have a podcast show, which is Unique Vibrations, where I am Electrical Essence. And on my YouTube, it's Aquarian Essence. And
is Electrical Essence on YouTube?
Well, it's under Aquarian Essence, but I do announce myself as Electrical Essence. But the YouTube is Aquarian Essence. And I'm also on another group one with the Mystical Ministries, with a couple other mystics in that Mystical Ministries. And let's see what else. Just going through all the credentials. I do tarot. I do other forms of divination. And on my talk show, I do talk about different things. I talk about, occult things, mystical things, ghost spirits, psychic abilities, hauntings. Astrology. We talk a lot of astrology, sexual astrology. I actually do have a couple of private Facebook groups. One of them is designed just specifically for that. I do work with some otother mystics, so we have a nice little team that we all kind of collaborate together. Cassie is one of them. And I have a chapter that I've jump-started the second chapter, which is the Sexual Erotic Revolution. Yeah. The first chapter went pretty well. We did 8 episodes, and I also do on my YouTube. I do a little mixture of live, and I do make videos and movies, and then also too with my podcast. And so we've decided to incorporate the Lion with Unique Vibration, Sexual Erotic Revolution, Chapter 2, and just make some cubs. And here we are.
There we go. So, why did you think? Why? Okay, it's not that I'm objecting because I'm loving this show. We've been down to do this show for months. Why do you think there's a need for spirituality and sexuality to go together right now? Why is this show needed, my love?
Everybody's always talking about love and light, love and vibrating higher and elevating as the Earth is going through an ascension, which is something that it does every so many thousands of years. And yes, love is a very high vibration. and and everything should always be through the heart space of love. But there's other things. Love is not the only highest thing that's one of the most highest vibrations. Music is high in vibrations, because of the frequencies and the tones and everything. Happiness, that goes in with a lot of that. But another thing besides music and love is sexuality and sex. Sexuality is a very high form of when it comes to just everything, because if you think about it, everything in this life is sexual. That's how we were created here in our physical bodies, is through sex. The plants, the animals, crossing energies, speaking. There's so many different ways to make love that goes beyond just the physical. There's the spiritual, and then there's the astral, and there's so many different realms and dimensions and ways of being in the physical body and doing it. And sexual things always seem to be the front runner when it comes to people that are having issues with healing and dark night of the soul, trauma, just experiences through their childhood or even into their adult. It's one of the biggest things when it comes to spirituality and it comes to just human existence in this reality, in this form, in this world that we're in right now.
Yes.
Sexuality it's huge. It needs to be re-educated, reformulated, and basically reapplied, and people need to have a different perspective of it in what they do, a lot more healthy perspective of it.
Yes.
Because sexuality is something that's always going to be around.
Yeah, our society is kind of misusing sexual energy right now. I 100% agree with that. Grant says, "Hey, also happy birthday!" So let's do some hellos. Daniel Moore, hey, dude, Levi, yo! Levi's one of my real life friends from California. Didi, hi.
My friend.
What? Well, no, let's
I said hello, my friend.
Yeah, we played role playing games together. We draw. He's a great artist. Really good debater too. I want to have him on the show sometime. And then of course there's Jason and everybody. Round of applause for our production manager, Jason. We threw this show together without him, mostly because we're trying to just get it done. But then in the future episode, he'll be getting it, and it'll look way better. So, Opal, hi, how you doing, hon? Neil, how you doing? Hello across the pond. I'm having trouble speaking today, and I don't know why. So you mentioned all these different ways of lovemaking, and I can't help it. And it's a good first step. Good first step to go at it. What is the difference, in your opinion, between lovemaking and fucking?
One has a lot more passion in it, to where the other one is a lot more animalistic.
That's true. It's definitely more moist, if you want to put it that way. So is that, I've always wondered if humans have a like a difference. Like for example, with my species, whether you're lovemaking or fucking is going to produce a different kind of offspring. And I've always wondered if there's ever been a study or anything like that, for Tara. What do you think?
I think that if there's not, there should be one. Put that on top of the list.
Yeah. Somebody summon the ghost of Kinsey! No, there definitely should. The problem is, I think one of the reasons why it doesn't get studied is because everybody's basically afraid to imply that that was live right in the middle of the show. I think everyone's afraid to impugn, for example, I have a cousin who was born of rape, and my aunt convinced the mother not to abort the fetus, and then in return she would adopt the baby. And he's like the sweetest guy you ever met. You'd think there'd be some hint of the darkness of his father, but no, he's just a guy. He's just a dude, So I don't know about that. I know with my people, there's a lot of emotion involved. Basically, the females don't even release eggs unless they achieve a certain level of emotional high. Now with us, that can be achieved a variety of ways. And it's true that the method of the coupling will affect the personality of of the offspring. But with us, we're energetic beings. So with us, lovemaking and sex, it's all energy. It's not necessarily, tab A into slot V. You know what I mean?
You also have to consider the pregnancy. So if a child is born or is made during a certain type of lovemaking or aggressive lovemaking, or child of rape, a lot of times it's the pregnancy, because there's that 9-month period incubation afterwards where there could be a lot of bonding and love and everything taken into it that can definitely play a part and to the neurons of the child, while it's forming.
Right. Well, see, in our case, we're more energy DNA than anything else. So it's figuring out the biological equation of a given race is kind of difficult. But in energy being's case, the energy is part of the DNA, which means the energy of the coupling, the energy of the pregnancy, is like all of it. And that's why we treated our women like sacred. When woman is with a child, that is it. That is it. Shit's sacred. Which may always make me jealous of the other females that could have cubs. Bastards. Sour grapes. But, but I've learned in my time here that humans are a lot more flesh than energy. At least this incarnation, anyway. Not on the higher realms, of course, but like here in this slow light environment.
It's so dense because it's a very dense realm. And but you have to think too, though, even though it's for it being very dense, it's still full of energy. We still have a lot of energy. It's different when it comes to the contrast of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jason says, "Hey guys, what's up? Hey, evening, Warren. Glad you guys could join us. We are having a discussion about sexuality and spirituality, how the two are linked and things like that. So, what do you think about how modern society is obsessing about sex? I mean, it seems like sex is everywhere, but at the same time, no one respects it. Like, here's one. Men do this weird thing, and reminder to the audience, I'm not a man. I'm intersex. I'm somewhere in between, and both at the same time. It's kind of fucked up. But anyway, something I've noticed that men do is, like they want to see your boobs, but then as soon as you show them their boobs, they're like, "Oh, you're a slut." What the fuck?
Oh yeah, the shaming and a lot of that is just you gotta think about how humans have been raising through example, and it's just like there's a reason for stereotypes, and there's also a reason for characteristics and I guess group behavioral patterns. It's just like it's a total monkey see, monkey do. I mean, a bunch of monkeys here on Earth. So it's like the men, they think that's just that's the go-to thing, to do. It's just it's just I think it's a reflex, Well,
that's kind of what I wonder. Is that a nature or nurture thing? Any guys in the audience? Fill us in, because both of us are confused, I think.
It happens, through junior high school, being hanging out with their friends, and and maybe how their father talks to their mother, and that plays a big part.
Yes. I was listening to a song on the radio the other day, and basically he was talking about, he was a rapper, and he was talking about his woman, and he's like, "Oh, I love her, I respect her," and then it gets to this part where he's like, "Oh, baby, I want you to do these nasty things for me," and then she does, and he's like, "Ah, yeah, you just a trick," and it's like, and the whole back half of the song is how she's just a slut, and she's just dirty, and it's like, you asked for this stuff! What?
They wants a freak in a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets, it's...
Yeah. I don't get that. What's with the double standard? I mean, I understand.
It goes both ways,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand there's double standards on both sides. I just don't understand why. The biological double standards of why women have to be more careful with sex, that's understandable. I mean, let's face it, sex for you guys has more consequences. It's sad, but guys can just take off. That's fucked up. Yeah, and especially emotional. And that's something that men just don't understand. I mean, the hormones of having a baby, it changes you for life, forever. That's it. So when a guy comes up and says, "Hey, baby, you want to take a ride on my love machine?" Women really should be thinking, do I want to roll the dice on having that bastard's bastard for the rest of my life? What do you think about that? Am I off base?
Oh, women should think about stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking like on a moral thing, like oh, you're bad if you do. I'm just saying you got to protect yourself because guys usually won't protect you. You know, and it's not that they're bad. It's just when Mr. Winky is thinking,
they're too macho to do it, or they're the opposite, or they're just too submissive, or it's hard to find one at the happy medium. But women though, we have issues too when it comes to matters of sex and relationships and everything too.
That's
especially,
true.
Especially feminists and everything. I mean, it's very messed up on both sides of the scales. That's why there's such a big issue right now with the whole battle of the sex with the feminine and the masculine energy. It's trying to balance itself out and yet trying to fix a lot of issues and heal a lot of things through the shaming and the scarlet lettering and the baby mama drama and the baby daddy drama and the abandoned children and it's just so much. I mean, it's going to take some time.
It is. It really is. But the thing is if everyone would just, I'm not even talking like, oh, if everybody would just join hands. The only thing missing from our society with regards to this is basically, that would have been such a good line if I didn't lose the word halfway through the fucking sentence. When you take responsibility for your actions.
Accountability?
Accountability. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And that goes for men and women. I think that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this show is because there's so many issues. There's so many theaters in the battle of the sexes. But we're all so much closer than we are far apart. But all we see right now is like, oh, well, the women, they don't care. Oh, well, the men are pigs. Oh, well, the women just want our money. Oh, well, the men just want our body.
Now we have the robot blow-up dolls, the new, they're going to be, that are supposed to be, they're going to replace women. Those are kind of interesting.
Yeah. I have to admit, I want one. Actually, I want like 5 of them, but not for sex purposes. I want to do art stuff with them.
Mm-hmm. Or you're just going to make them watch.
I might make them watch. No, it's the idea that the cold flesh thing doesn't. I've never been. Like I got a fleshlight once, and it was just like, this is weird. I feel like I'm fucking a sponge. So it's just not for sexual purposes, but like taking naughty photos, sure, but artistic model things like that. But mostly I'm thinking about putting them in scary costumes and putting them out in the front yard during Halloween. Those things are freaky looking. Okay? Imagine that dead eye looking at you. Jack. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing I'm thinking of,
Or have them out during Christmas time as, like the 3 wise men or something, and then like the whole, Oh, yeah.
Or better, or get 8 of them and dress them up as like furry cosplay reindeer and put them on the roof, just fun shit like that. I'm not. Let's be honest. I would fuck one. I'm not gonna lie, but after that it'd be like, okay, I kind of feel, that's not what I was expecting. I'm gonna go wash.
I think those things cost more than probably like a couple months of but somebody would pay for like prostitution because they're really expensive. So you go and buy one of those dolls at that price, and then you screw it one time, and you're just like, you just wasted a lot of money, which would have cost less to clean them. And
well, for a lot of men, sex is until they meet someone they love. For a lot of men, sex is nothing more than basically a hydraulic release. Let's face it, we could all amuse ourselves for hours looking up the dumb things men have done to their own penises. So, like the belt sander, that's my favorite. Friction feels good during sex. There's a belt sander. I've got an idea.
Where the guy picked the brick up with his dick. I don't know if you've ever seen that before.
I haven't seen that, but I believe it. Funny thing is, there's actually used to be a game amongst the samurai that they would play when they got drunk. And basically they would hang stones from the tip of their erect penis, and whoever could hang the most wins.
That would not be good to do during that time.
Guys do fucked up things. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, Luxana's dad, his friends dared him to put his in a fan.
What was that?
A fan. Luxana's dad, they dared each other to put it in a fan.
Yeah, no. No, that's like daring you to stick your balls in a shark tank. No, thank you. But yeah, so I mean, I'm not judging guys on that at all. You know, I can understand. You know, a lot of guys, it's just like I said, it's just a hard hydraulic release for a lot of men. So you know, for them, that would be the perfect answer. And quite frankly, oh, what was that?
I was just saying, it's very different for men and women when it comes to it.
Very much so. And I'm more on the female side on that. So it's like, okay, it's cold rubber flesh. The boobies are nice, but I don't want it touching me. But the thing is, and there's another factor to consider. I know a lot of people are up in arms about the sex bots, especially feminists. But what about this? I think we can all agree that not every person deserves a relationship, right?
I agree.
So what if...
And some people are not built for monogamy. Some people are not built for polygamy. I mean, it's
exactly.
People, but really, it's a lot of social programming and a lot of society programming and all that, and of course parents. But most people, I'm amazed that most people are actually not really truly built for monogamous relationships.
That's true. Biologically speaking, that bears out too. I mean, humans are not built for monogamy at all. That's actually one of the reasons why back in the day the idea of a monogamous relationship was like the ideal. Oh, you could pull off a monogamy, but now it's like, oh well, that's just expected to be the norm. Okay, so when a successful monogamous relationship becomes a norm, you've just taken away all the incentive to have a monogamous relationship, and then you guys wonder why there's problems. You know. But what I was wondering is your thoughts on this. The sex bots, I can understand why people could consider them creepy and weird, but what if it has the other effect? I mean, what if it had the effect, like if we could do a combination of like acceptance and understanding and therapy or whatever, what if the existence of sex bots basically just took all the toxic people who were looking for a little bit of OPP off the market? You know? I'm not justifying it or defending it, I'm just wondering. You know, because they're coming.
I think there's something a little bit better. That I think that if they were to legalize prostitution and regulate it in a way that they do everything else and have it set up in a safe way, I think that would also relieve a lot of things.
No, I agree.
Too.
Dude, what a person wants to do with their body should be their fucking business. You know, if they could legalize prostitution, it really would solve so many problems. And they've proven that shit in France and like Amsterdam, and a whole bunch of places. They've proven it over and over and over again. Less crime, less trafficking, less disease. You know, women that are no longer desperate and having to do shit they hate with their life. You know,
men men that have a hard time being able to, even get women or even to get laid. It just makes it a lot more acceptable.
Exactly. Basically, males in society, there is a sexual need. That's just the way it is, and they'll do whatever they have to get it. That was why we have things called prison gay, So the idea of demonizing male sexuality is really just foolish. And at the same time, what was that?
Any form of sexuality. I mean, there's those fine lines, but pretty much, people should have the right to be able to express themselves sexually, and people should not be judged by it, because you should not judge somebody for what they do behind closed door for pleasure
or love, And with that sort of where we're kind of, I've been like wandering around trying to get to the point, but I'm not stalling. It's just hard to put into words. But at the same time, demonizing female sexuality, I think, is actually worse. And I'm not trying to score feminist points, but if you think about it, women are natural energy channels. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the holy light, the light of life. I mean, all of the lights. You women are inherently part of that. So if you're demonizing a woman's sexuality for whatever purpose she wants to use it, pleasure, procreation, business, whatever, she wants to use her sexuality to entertain penguins in the middle of the snow, fuck it, go, more power to her. But anytime you try to control a woman's flow of energy, all you're going to do is create a blockage, all right? And that's going to create disease, that's going to create misery, And if a woman wants to go around and have sex with a bunch of guys, I understand, like, from the earlier point, women need to be careful. It's easier for them to catch diseases and shit. But at the same time, life's hard enough. Okay? You know? Men don't understand because of the genitalia issue. You know, men are driven by their genitals. But and I could be wrong about this, but I see a woman's sexuality as a painting. You see, men's sexuality is like the squeeze of paint. You know, it's bright, it's colorful, it's powerful, and then it's done. But with a painting, the longer you take, you know, the more care you put into it, the more attentive you are, the more love you give that canvas, the more it will give you back. You see?
Or the harder it comes.
Yeah! That works too. Andrea says, I love penguins too. Yeah, me too. I don't love penguins that much, but you know. But the moral of the story is just be excellent to each other. Fuck. It's not hard.
Yeah, it's not at all.
No.
Oh, here we go. And just I've been sharing our lives to some groups and.
Cool.
And.
So how do we go about describing the link between sexuality and spirituality in such a way that doesn't sound like we're trying to start a sex cult?
What if we are?
I'm on board. I sign up to be the maypole.
Spirituality and sexuality. Well, let's see. There's when it comes to correlating with spirituality, you know, there's that bonding, there is that connectedness, there's that oneness, that two souls when they come together. You know, you got to think there's tantric sex, there is the Kama Sutra. You know, also too, we make our babies that way. I mean, that's you know, sexuality and astrology is, you know, seen through the fifth house, which is the original house for Leo, the lion, and fifth house of pleasure, and it's fifth house is you know, it's passion, pleasure. It's the house for children. It is where we create our children through our passions and our pleasure. So it all correlates in together. You know, and everything. I believe that everything in life is. I mean, everything all the way down from sex to eating to taking shit. You know, it's everything is spiritual because it all has a space here in the realm that we're in. Everything that, like anything that we do, from talking to walking to just everything is spiritual. So why wouldn't, I mean, of course, sex is going to be the hugest part of that because
of course
there's life. More to sex than sex. You know, there's more than fornication when it comes to sexuality. Yeah. I mean, just speaking to each other in such a way through you know, which like a high vibrational way of, you know, that's lovemaking. You know, somebody that's lovemaking, you know, being sensual with your friends and you know, when you share gifts and holidays, that's love too. That's a form of sexuality, you know, because think about it, it's two energies coming together. So two people talking together, you know, it's just the meeting of the minds, conversation, all of that is such a really living and very sexual. Like, what are you getting at?
Yeah, the chat room, when we started talking about the sex cult, Andre goes, "Count me in," and then Grant goes, "This is the way." But no, you're right. Basically, every form of sexual, not just sexual. I'm sorry. Every form of interaction with another energetic being is a form of lovemaking. But love is light, is love. You know, it's the two fields are very, very interrelated. And anything from a caress to, like you said, a caress to a touch, just listening to your friend, that is a form of lovemaking. Now, the reason why the junk on junk lovemaking is so much more energetic is because you have to generate a charge. If you're going to make life, you got to generate a charge. You got to make a spark, you know. But biologically, the way that fits in, and keep in mind, the reason why I keep going back to biology is because the more you understand the biology, the easier the spirituality is to wrap your head around. But you got to figure that when the genitals are touching and intermingling, as it were, sorry, two people, whether it's no matter what kind of sex, I mean, even oral sex, you know, when you are going down on your lover, you're connecting your truth chakra to their, you know, root chakra. I had the right chakra, right?
Their throat chakra to their root to their sacral chakra.
Yeah, the sacral. Thank you. I always get the names wrong, but I got the colors right. So, you know, say for example, when a woman is going down on her husband, right? She's actually taking an energetic sample from him when she's doing that. It's a flow. Okay, man and woman make the connection. And that's the way it is. And that's why it's Adam and Eve, not. God damn it! I fucked up my own joke. And that's why it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And it should only ever be man and woman. If you're an idiot. Okay, these energies, they don't give a fuck what body you're in. All right, look at me. They don't care, and that's one of the reasons why homosexuality doesn't have a spiritual side effect. Now, we'll talk about homosexuality and why it's a sin in some religions and why there's some logic to that in a future episode. But I don't want anyone thinking that we're pro anti-gay, because fuck that.
And also, have you noticed that a lot of heyokas are
yes,
very either
twisty,
bisexual or gay?
Oh yeah, like me. So I wanted to make that joke, because I want to cut that tension. See, the fact is that man and woman they naturally fit together. That's true. Okay. But just like magnets, just because they naturally go click this way doesn't mean they're not useful in other directions. You can't get a quantum lock with a male and a female magnet. You need a homomagnet. Okay? Okay, all right.
Oh
I just said that. Anyway, okay, so edit out the homomagnet. Homogeneous magnet. Okay, so... And then take that into the animal kingdom, and this is the last part. We're gonna go into homosexuality in a different episode. But even in the animal kingdom, homosexuality there's a need for it, and it fills a place. Especially in social animals. Pretty much every social animal has been shown to be homosexual, and when that happens, their primary function within the structure of the animals is taking care of the orphans. Okay. So it's like not only is homosexuality natural in nature, it's a survival tool. So don't be judging,
Survival tool.
No, seriously, that's actually the biological origin of homosexuality. Now it's evolved from there to be more spiritual and more deeper, just like putting your junk in the junk is just a biological function. But when you add in love and spirituality and energy and all the things that make it great, it no longer becomes an act of rutting in the moisture. You see what I mean?
So all right. Now you were asking about spirituality and sexuality. Now, going back to monogamous relationships and all of that. Now, when it comes to sexuality, what do you think is like a key point when it comes to sexuality and spirituality together? What's a really important area that people should know or learn about?
You know how DNA is made of two strands that twine around each other in more or less eternity?
Yes.
That is a very, very, very strong representative of what lovemaking is. Even fucking to a certain degree. When you mingle your energies with another person in such a way that it can produce another person, you have to remember, you are becoming one consciousness, even for just a second, So make it worth it. I'm not saying like oh don't fuck around, don't worry. You do you, boo boo. What I'm saying is, if you're going to be a wildly sexual being, learn tantra. Make it worth it. If you're going to spend half your life on your back.
A lot of breathing.
Yes. Tantra is more breathing than fucking.
Yes, it is. It pretty much is. It is knowing how to focus on both at the same time, but not focus on both at the same time while breathing.
Yes. And by the way, for those of you who are wondering, Tantra spell while 69ing, one of the hardest things you will ever have to do.
Spell casting in the middle of orgasm is a really hard thing to do.
Yes, absolutely. But the 69 is really hard for Cassidy, because it's like I'm so into what I'm doing with my mouth, but at the same time she's like making me be what I'm doing into doing. Yeah, you get the idea. It's just so much, but keep in mind, on an energetic level, the reason why the 69 is so attractive throughout history, not to everybody obviously, is because it creates a natural Mobius. with most forms of lovemaking is essentially it's energy coming in through the the receptors in the back of the male's head, traveling down the serpent spine into the woman, and then out her head. No matter which way you do it. But with the 69, the two oral links. You see what I mean? You're taking her energy in, she's taking your energy in, and then you're feeding it to each other, and it creates a basically like a Mobius. Like two vampires feeding on each other at the same time. So it's just, you guys got to remember that sex is more than just the positions and how that feels so good. It's also you're creating geometries with your bodies. And
energy as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. That's better. I switched my answer to her answer.
Hey, you're sounding good too.
So, Martin says, "I love 69." Yeah, dude, dude, I am orally fixated. Okay, like you guys see me with the lollipops, I'm like, so what's weird? I love the 69, but I would rather just go down on my partner and just let them have a good time. You know what I mean? I would rather just do my job and just enjoy that compersion. Speaking of which, do you know what compersion is?
No.
Really? You're fucking with me, right?
How do you spell it?
COMPURSION.
Compersion.
I am really surprised you haven't heard that word. You're gonna know when you read it. You're gonna know. You're gonna go like, "Oh yeah, I know that. I get that too." Empaths get it. So compersion is a form of pleasure that you feel when you are basically taking in your lover's pleasure. Now, modern porn has turned that into something fetishy, okay? But it can be anything. Like you can feel compersion when you watch your spouse eat that steak that you made, right? You made them a nice meal, and they eat it, and they get that foodgasm, like, oh, and you get that pleasure in your heart. That's compersion. With empaths, the compersion can get extreme, okay? For example, my ability to feel compersion is so strong that I can actually feel I can actually get a heart orgasm, which, by the way, is scary the first time. Am I having a heart attack?
The feeling of joy associated with seeing a loved one, or seeing a loved one love another, contrasts with jealousy.
Well, that's that's a fetishy explanation. You can get compersion from a variety of sources.
Yeah.
But with the rise of things, like sharing porn, voyeur porn, things like that, couple sharing porn, the word compersion is getting a little bit twisted. The point is, though, it's that feeling of joy and pleasure you get from watching someone you love have pleasure. Okay, and again, you could eat foodgasm, okay, I get compersion from watching Shannon watch Avengers. Okay, she loves the Avengers movies, and she loves them so much she can like totally lose herself in it, and for an hour and a half she has no troubles in the world. So we're at the movies, she's watching the Avengers, I'm watching her. That's also a form of compersion. Why were we talking about that? Apollomy says, "What did I walk into, LMAO?" The name of the show is The Lions After Dark. Do the math. No, this is the show we're doing. It's basically where it's going to be about sexuality, spirituality. Basically, kind of think of what is that show with Dr. Drew? Love Talk,
or Howard Stern.
Yeah, along those lines. Melanie is way better at this part than I am. I can do all the talking. She actually knows what she's doing. I'm just here to look pretty.
And I do sexual consulting. I am and sexual life coaching. I started doing that. It's been about almost 10 years, so it's been interesting. I've actually life coached a couple of couples, but mostly individuals. It's actually what I went to school for.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yes, a sexual therapist. Majored in behavioral science and sociology, and plus the jobs that I've had, before I went to school, and it's just something that it's something that gets thrown in a lot of our laps as a mystic. If you're a practicing mystic and you've been doing it for a while, what's one of the biggest highlighted subjects that you end up talking about with a lot of your clients? sex,
Sex.
relationship,
Well, it's a
partnerships,
huge part of
romance.
your life. You know.
Yep. Is Johnny gonna call me next Tuesday? No. Will I be in relationships? No. Just no to everything. Yeah, that gets very annoying in the mystical community. You know, like in groups and stuff when people, you know, want to know when their ex or the person they like hightailed it out of their life. If they're coming back, it's like, just move on.
Hey, dude, that's like the mainstay of my income. That's the mainstay of my income. Is I won't charge for healing or consulting or anything that's important. But if you want to know if your boyfriend's coming back, give me $20. Okay, I gotta feed my kids too. God damn it! But
did you hear me? I said the best way to get over somebody is to get underneath somebody else.
I'd like to help you with that.
All right, I'm being still sharing out here, but everything's just going.
Andre says, "Now you know what? My computer's slowing down too. I wonder if it has to do with the EM pressure out there. It's like we're in the eye of a fucking hurricane." I have a Pleiadian friend that called me just like an hour before we started. He's like, "Cassidy, I feel fucking terrible. What's going on?" And I'm like, "Well, you know how we've been in the middle of a giant storm? Yeah, it's the eye of the storm." He goes, "Oh shit." I'm like, "Yeah, this is gonna suck." And for those of you who are interested, check the Schumann resonances. It's not pretty.
Oh, this one's still buffering. Okay. That Facebook pulled up here on the laptop and the desktop, and they're just both you know, being slow. I hate it.
Well, Apollemy, I would love to have you talk to Melanie. She's pretty smart. And you know how it goes. We healers tend to not be able to heal ourselves. So
some can, some do. You know, it's very
true.
interesting because Cable did an episode on his YouTube. It's like who heals the healers, and then I did a response to that with another mystic who was doing emotional code healing, who wanted to help heal the healers. You know, because that's what they do. You know, that's what healers do. Like in mystics, you know, it's healing, even consulting and advising. That's a form of healing because it's with the mind instead of the body. And then you got your shamans, and of course, you know, your Reiki and your energy healers that, you know, heal through the earth and the, you know, and chakras and all that. But a lot of people have to heal to a certain point to be able to do any type of like mystical consulting or healing and all that. Because I mean, if you're wrecked in trash, I mean, how are you going to heal somebody else that's wrecked in trash?
Exactly.
You know, so a lot of healers do have to heal, and they also have to continuously heal. It's like an ongoing thing. You know, you can't just heal to a certain point. You know, we go through shit in our life. We go through stuff with our families and our friends and our personal lives, private life, career, work, all that. You know, so and we got to heal from that bullshit.
Oh yeah. And then if you're a light worker on top of being an empath, you know, I mean, holy crap, it can get nasty. So, yeah, I would definitely like to have you and Apollemy talk. I'd like to see you do her. I want to be in the room when you do Apollemy's chart, just because I want to see your face.
Yeah, I do sexual astrology. That's one of the key highlights for my my soul expression group is to talk. You know, and that one's, you know, I have adult swim claim around there. You know, if it's only for adults 25 and older. Right. Do sexual astrology and, you know, compatibility, but I love it. I'd love to plug in all the asteroids and see where they land. Did your hair stuck?
No, it was just looking really weird. So, I'm obsessed with how my hair looks. God damn it, on the camera. I don't care off camera, but on camera. But we should do a whole episode devoted specifically to sexual healing and, you know, like why it's needed and, you know, why it's not just, you know, pervy people. You know, a lot. There's a lot of that going on where people are like, oh yeah, sexual therapy. Sure. But
people
folks,
are getting into it. A lot more people are needing it.
Well, you got to figure, you know, how much of your life is devoted to sex. Really, think about it. You know.
If you're not doing it, you're thinking about it or wanting to do it. You know, you're either doing it or thinking about it or getting ready to.
Yeah, or trying to attract a mate. You know, I mean, sexuality is the anti-death. All right, your body requires sex to incarnate. Your soul doesn't. Your mind doesn't. Okay, but that's where one of the reasons why I want to do this anyway is people are getting so up into the vibes and stuff that they're forgetting that your anchor is right here. This is a big part of you, you know, and without sex, your body will die when it dies. And that sounds like double talk. But when you die, you're not dead.
3 healthy orgasms a week is really good for the heart, especially people that have clogged arteries, heart problems. It's also really good with circulation. So 3 orgasms a week.
Yeah, especially, and this is going to sound sexist, but especially women. The way the vascular system is structured in the pelvic area, if you don't have orgasms, you can actually start to suffer from very severe disorders. You know,
the pelvic floor can cave in or have issues.
Yeah, I remember reading once, and we'd have to verify this true, or maybe we can get Dr. Drew on the show sometime. But I remember reading somewhere that you can actually get pelvic cancer from not having enough orgasms because the way the blood flows down there, the way the circulatory system is, if you don't get it pumping, it'll sit, and it'll get clogged. So I'd like to talk to a doctor about that, see if that's true or if it's some kind of high school rumor. Because that does sound like the kind of thing guys would make up. You gotta give your girlfriend an orgasm every week or she'll die, man. That kind of sounds like the thing 13-year-old boys would tell each other. Apollymie says, many people have told me that I heal others by sex. I did not understand what they meant. I thought they just used it as a pick-me-up line. No. Yes.
We talk about this every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Melanie, you want to go into this one?
Yes, a lot of people are able to heal through sexuality, or even within their own essence of their own sexuality. Because there's some women, even men, that do ooze this pheromone and this, that frequency of sex. And sometimes just being within the presence of somebody like that is very healing, and it also depends on the demeanor of the person. Just like I was telling you, like with Key Gifted Hands, I told her that she has such a high sexual vibration about herself and all levels and areas of who she is, just physical, mental, spiritual. I told her that she should charge crystals with her energy. It's really good for like massage therapy and stuff like that. Or crystal healing. And so people that are able to heal others through their sexuality, or even through their sexuality or through sex or both, how you heal somebody sexually, it's a lot of times it's how your performance, and also too it's your energy intertwining in with theirs. It heals on a mental and a physical and a spiritual level. Yeah,
and that's why attentiveness is so awesome. Oh, I'm sorry, I talked over you.
And that's for people that have very strong, and very unique sacral chakras.
Yeah. Andrea says if she's lucky, she gets one a week. Move closer. We'll fix that for you. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't. I heard the one a week thing, and I'm like, oh, that's a crime. Now, I want to explain something to you guys. I flirt a lot. I flirt with men. I flirt with women. I flirted with a webcam before. What was that?
I'm a flirt. Shane says I'm a big flirt, too. I already know it.
Well, yeah, but you're not a 6.5-foot hairy guy, so you flirt and everybody's happy. I flirt and people run.
Yeah, but I'm like a 6-foot hairy girl to look at all this hair.
Yeah. I kind of want to eat it, which is weird. I know. But anyway, where was I? Shit. Oh, well. Lost myself mid-sentence.
Flirting.
Oh, yeah. So, keep in mind, my people are intensely sexual people. Like, way intensely sexual. And now, before you sit there and go, oh, yeah, so yeah, you bullshit, man, that's an excuse. No, I am also a slut. Okay? So, it's not an excuse, it's just a fact, and I'm a slut. Actually, I'm not really a slut. I care intensely about everybody, that I have any kind of interaction with like that. I don't sex unless I care. But that being said, I have a really big heart and I care so much about everybody. I wanted to get that out of the way because there's a lot going around with the Age of Aquarius going on, and there's a lot of people around that are trying to use the budding sexual energy in a toxic way. Like I can't tell you how many readers I've met that I've run across that in the groups. They're like, "Oh, I can read you. I can tell you your dreams. You just have to show me your titties." And women do it, and it's like, "Oh shit." And with the resurgence of the understanding of the Kundalini, the resurgence of the popularity of the Kama Sutra. I mean, I saw an advertisement for a Rick and Morty Kama Sutra the other day, which I want to get that. I
love Rick and Morty.
Me too, right? But so with all this resurgence of the and rediscovery of the spirituality of sex, there's a lot of predators running around going, using this as an opportunity to get laid, you know. And what a lot of people don't realize is that when you play with somebody's sex like that, you're also playing with their heart. They can play tough, but when you use sex as a weapon, it leaves a scar every time, you know. Yay! I made a polyme joke on a drink. I win. Okay, so Andrea says, "Ugh, Aquarius. It's the dawning. When the moon is in the second house and Jupiter aligns with Mars." Sorry. But yeah, but that's why we're doing this show is and we want to have people on and talk about like your version of sexuality. Like here's something that you might grab your guys' interest. I know we all know about female circumcision, and I think we all agree that whoever does that should be crushed in the skull by an angry horse on steroids.
Actually, I wrote a paper on that in college and in high school, and even that. Oh yeah, that makes me want to turn into the Hulk.
Yes. So, did you go into the origin of where that evolved from? The region of Africa?
Yeah, it's different parts of Africa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, Melanie's getting her mad on. That's okay. I'll rage right there with you. They still perform that in a lot of the smaller tribes, and the women, and they're not even doing it to women now, they're doing it to girls. They're doing it to them younger now. Oh yeah.
We actually have a refugee area for women that are escaping that, women and children that are escaping that from Africa up in Canada for them to go to. It's good. It's been like almost 20 years now. Yeah.
Now let's get some bikers with chainsaws to protect them. Chainsaw bikers. The only way to protect women. No, I'm sorry. It's getting to that point, man. Like in the UK now, you can legally because it's illegal to do a female circumcision in the UK, but that's okay. You can just fly your daughter out of country and do it and come back, and it's perfectly legal. What the fuck?
I think if they have to do it to the child, I think the mother and father have to do. Well, the mother already has it done, but I think the father has to do it too. Why not?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. The clit can get cut, can soak in the penis. And how fucking cowardly is... Okay, here's a good chance. Melanie, I have a question. If a man tied you down and cut your clit off just to make sure you couldn't cheat on him, would you not cheat on him with every fucking thing?
Or get him really, really drunk and teach the animals how to ass fuck him.
I like that. We just bring him over to Cassie's house. We'll have a barbecue. Yeah, I'm one of those people that gets violently up in arms about that as well. But that's not exactly a courageous position to take. What I was getting at is, did you when you were researching that, did you find out like some of the other sexual practices of the women in the areas that gave rise to infibulation? Because it's weird.
I had interviewed a couple of girls that were from Africa that were going to the School of Mines in Rapid City. I should look for that paper and send it to you.
Well, we're not trying to talk about circumcision. I'm just saying that there's some unusual sexual practices that arose in those same tribes.
Now the other sexual practices, I'm not fully aware of all of them. I do know that they do have some weird ones. That's what the guy that lifting the brick with his penis was one of them. But that was over in Africa, one of the tribes. And the nipple piercings and
real
everything.
Quick, before we get into that, I have a good question for you, and go ahead and pour all of the funk on it. A polyman wants to know what a female circumcision is, and there's a couple people here that don't know what that means.
It's usually it is done around the time when a woman or child, because children, they get their, they start, puberty earlier than they should, and when they have their first period, it's usually we used to do what
Hi, Melissa. Rock,
yeah. Or piece of stone. Now that do it's a knife, and what they do is they cut the clitoris off of a woman. and so that way she is never able to achieve an orgasm. And it's supposed to be and also too, if they do not have it done, then they are kicked out of the village. They are considered basically it's like a scarlet letter. They are considered considered prostitutes, whores, it's just all kinds of derogatory things that they are considered, and they are not able to return back to their tribe. And a lot of times they have to hold the girls down. The other women will hold the girl down to do the circumcision, and a lot of them will end up dying, bleeding out when they have it done.
Yeah.
It's get infected.
Now, is it true that they usually spring this on the girls and they don't tell them what's going to happen?
Sometimes, yeah, I'm surprised. And then also too, there's also the ritual of sewing when they stitch it the vagina shut. It's another thing too. Yeah.
I have a very little experience with that. When I was doing my superhero thing in the Bay Area, one of the people that came to us for help was a girl who was running from her family because they were going to do that to her, and our reaction was satisfying. And if you guys are hearing this story and going, "Oh my God, that's horrible," and you get that sick feeling in the center of your stomach, and you want to look for ways to help, there are groups that are actively out there right now trying to rescuing girls. Like, there's people with like machine guns that will come in and fucking get the girls out that want to come. It is a war out there for females. It is a war for the soul of womankind, which is a war for the soul of Earth. And I know I sound like one of those male feminists who's just trying to get laid, but when you understand energy and the way the Earth is changing and the rising feminine, the rising goddess, it suddenly becomes all the more important. But getting laid is nice too. So yeah, it's pretty terrible. And the worst part of the female circumcision subject is that the girls who just get it cut off are the lucky ones. It gets a lot worse.
And sometimes it's just not the plate. Sometimes it's that whole area there.
Yeah, that they call that a full infibulation, right?
And there is ways to repair it surgically if it's not too damaged. But it's you have more nerves in the tip of your clitoris than you do all over your body.
Yes. And women's clitorises have 15 times as many nerve endings as the male penis, and it's all packed into a smaller area. So, and the thing about that, in women, if you don't know this, please look it up. You must learn about your flower. It's not just the tip. The clitoris is an orchid-shaped organ. Most of it is under the skin. You don't see most of it.
Yeah, there's just and there's just the clitoris, and then there's a whole networking system behind it that goes into the vagina wall, and then that because the other side of the clitoris is the G spot, that spongy area, about inch and a half, 2 inches within, on the front wall of the vagina, and then there's also more than one G spot in the body. There's actually like 3 to 4,
really,
depending on it, because there's more than one G spot.
I didn't know that.
Some women that actually have 2 vagina openings.
Yeah, I knew about that. Yeah, that's interesting. I keep hoping one of those women does porn, but at the same time, I completely understand why they don't. I mean,
you can't see it sometimes. It's the second one's usually really, really small.
Yeah, I know, but still. But at the same time, like I said, I understand. I mean, I'm biologically intersex. I should be doing porn, but I don't. Mostly because nobody's offered. But
paperwork.
Send it to me. No, but I understand.
Why? After you have been asked to do porn.
Hmm?
You have been asked to do porn.
But then I wouldn't have got to do the joke. Okay, all right. Okay, so now you guys get to hear it first. Melanie, tell them about the offer.
What do I have? You go ahead and tell them while you're blushing and showing your dimple.
Okay, so basically, there's some talks about the possibility of me being offered a porn job because I have very nice boobies. So I don't know, and from what I understand, if they're wanting to pair me up with Buck, I can't remember his last name, but it's a transgender hero. Buck is oh my God, he's so hot. Buck began life as a woman. And Buck realized very early that he was not a woman. Somebody fucked up in the department in heaven, and somewhere there's a pizza, there's like a slice of pizza that thinks it's a can of oranges. That's how bad the fuck up is. So he decided, you know what, I'm going to take my fate in my own hands. I'm gonna go through the surgery. But he stopped at the genitals. He's like, you know what? No, this is me. This is who I am. I'm comfortable enough. I'm gonna do porn. And oh my God, he is so hot. He's got the swimmer's body, and I don't like bald guys normally, but ooh, I want to lick his head. So I think what the idea is like, because I'm like a guy that's like halfway, and then it's like he's a girl that's halfway. Biologically, I hate saying that. That's fucked up, but you know what I mean. I think that's what they're going for, and I have to admit I'm kind of into it. Because that would be like me getting to be like, you're one of my heroes. I love you. You gave me the courage. So, I don't know. At this point, I'd do pretty much anything to get off of Skid Row. But the point was, I understand not wanting to be turned into a fetish, not wanting to be dehumanized like that. Unless dehumanization is your fetish, in which case, knock yourself out.
And that's the type of thing that people need to be sexually educated on not to do.
Exactly. Or find out like a lot of submissives are really into objectification. They'll never let you know that,
Or some will, actually some do. Some do.
Oh. Well, that would be nice. I think that would be a really special experience if somebody walked up to me and said, "Hey, could you turn me into a chair?" I'd be like, "Oh, honey, I will turn you into the best chair."
If they ask you to turn them into a toilet, just turn around and walk away.
Yeah, that's a little too far for me. I have very few hard limits. That's one of them.
Yeah, I draw the line a little bit way before that. That little turn around the bend. But yeah, just walk away.
Apollemy, I realize that you're away from her now. Apollemy says that she got threatened most of her life. If she had sex with anyone, then her ex-human caretaker would sew her vagina shut. Apollemy, if she ever, I realize it's a long, long time ago, but if anyone ever tries to make good on that, I want you to understand they will be alive when I begin to eat them. And that goes for anybody. That's not just Apollemy. If you're being persecuted like that, you can come to my door. Let's see a bunch of let's see a bunch of angry traditionalist Muslims deal with that. Mind you, I don't have a problem with Muslims. Again, and I've mentioned this many times. If I was a religious person, I might be a Muslim. But you got to admit, it's the Muslims doing the click cutting. So, are you okay? You're. Maybe I'm just uncomfortable talking about that subject.
I've been shuffling cards and fighting with the Capricorn laptop and the half-Taurus Gemini desktop.
Gotcha.
So that's what, because my mount's up high and everything's. So yeah, that's what I've been. I'm about ready to get out the fucking door into the snow.
So now that we've talked about the disgusting subject of clitorectomies, I would like to take a few seconds to discuss all the ways that can be defeated. Because women have a unique ability that men don't have. If you cut off a woman's clit, you know what starts to happen? Immediately, that very minute, the body starts to reroute nerves. Okay? There are
That too.
Well, yeah. The brain's part of the body, last I checked.
I think for most people, yes, not everybody.
That's true. Some people don't have the neck bolts. So the beauty of it is... Yeah, right? So the beauty of it, and also at the same time the insanity, is the removal of the organ ultimately does nothing except make her hate you. With a little bit of training and attentiveness, a woman who's been brutalized like that can regain a mostly normal function, if not full normal function. And in that way, it's just proves to be just how useless. See, men don't understand, especially previous men, especially primitive men. Women don't fuck for the same reasons men fuck. Women make love because they want the safety and don't get me wrong, there's also the other stuff. But when was the last woman you saw pick a life mate based on his booty?
I would pick my life mate based on his booty.
That's it. Like just like only the booty. Like she's just a floating booty walking around, right?
Oh no, it's got to have a front side to it too, you know.
Yeah, see, there you go. The fucked up thing is, and they've done this. They've done this. Men literally only need two vaguely circle-shaped objects and a vaguely triangle-shaped object, and he can, and he's fine. They actually no. I'm serious. They did this. They did the test on this when they discovered that male turkeys, if there's a wattle, just a wattle, that's all, just the wattle, just the little red part, right? The male turkey will try to hump it. Okay, and that was getting the scientists like, wait, what, huh?
And so that doesn't surprise me with the turkeys. Well, just like a woman's vagina is the same circumference in the space and size of a chicken's vagina. You know, the thing that the eggs come out of.
That just made all those chicken fucker jokes make sense. All right. I always figured if you fucked a chicken, it would explode or something. And it's like, how?
No, they have very deep vaginas, as small as they are, compact they are. Yeah, those eggs gotta. I mean, think about the egg that comes out.
Fair enough.
Not for you, like one big vagina. I mean, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you probably could fuck a chicken till it explodes, but
why?
That's
yeah.
Cartoon form, not real form.
Right.
I really want to see something like that in real life, you know, but I'm not really into the wild bestiality. But okay, so we're talking about how do we get on the subject of female circumcision? What about with men? You know that if a male is over circumcised as a baby, that can stop the growth of his penis.
Yes. I am extremely anti-male circumcision. Talk about a useless fucking gesture. You know, and the fucked up thing about that is male circumcision has an even more fucked up origin than female circumcision. At least you can look at cavemen and go, okay, I can see where you're thinking. But male circumcision is just, okay, cut the tip of your dick off to prove you love God. What? You know? And then
God needs to cut the tip of his dick off to prove that he loves you.
Yeah.
It's only what's fair is fair, right?
Right, you know, but then that evolved into cut the baby's dick off so he doesn't have to feel it. Dude, that defeats the purpose of the manhood ritual. Yeah, and babies die from this.
They do.
Yeah. So it's like, you can kind of understand the one logic. It kind of makes sense, you know, in a weird kind of caveman way. But the other way, it's completely useless. It has no medical benefit. It has, and at that point, it has no spiritual benefit. You know, at that point, it's just the first betrayal.
And also, too, the foreskin on the penis is also what helps protect the person from STDs and bacterial and stuff like that. Because it catches it in the foreskin, so it doesn't go into the urethra.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's just we have all these strange rituals. Like it's almost like people think that the more they harm their sexuality, the more they grow as a spirit.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of fucked up things in this world when it comes to spirituality and sexuality, and how they've separated the two and made them like something of two different universes. You know, it's because, you know, living in the age of Pisces, it was okay. So Pisces, that's sanctuaries, hospitals, prison. It's house of lumps, loneliness, all of that. You know, and during the age of Pisces, what happened? Oh, bondage. It's also known for the bondage, and religion, spirituality, and all that. So look what happened. I mean, there was the breaking apart of the men and women through the feminine and the masculine. Then there was also the church came in and basically said it's wrong to do anything of anything. I mean, Jesus Christ, you barely bat your fucking eyes and have to, you know, go pray to the statue. You know, I mean, it went, and then one of the biggest things that took one of the biggest hits besides, you know, the person of women and is sexuality. You know, so during the age of Pisces, that was a big thing, and like Pisces that during that age. It was head in bed. That's where head in bed pleasures comes from. Secret enemies. But one of the biggest things though is sexuality was not only suppressed, but we had. That was the starting of a lot of the social programming through not only just parents but society, through the religion, through our education system, workforce, all of that. So that's why with the age of Pisces coming into the age of Aquarius is wanting to, it's age of Aquarius is supposed to be about that sisterhood, brotherhood. It's about the connecting into that inner God, to the higher God, to that, that it's about breaking away from all of those things from the I believe, because it was like, okay, so you could believe a bunch of fucking shit, to I know it's a bunch of fucking shit. so during the age of Aquarius, we are to be, and it's also about higher education and higher intellectual knowing and being aware. It's about that higher consciousness, that self-consciousness, that universal consciousness, and that connected collective consciousness. So one of the things that needs to be rewritten and everything is sexuality.
Yes, with respect. The thing is, as I've been pursuing my career and researching, trying to figure out what's going on this fucking planet, I've ran into a lot of disturbing things. But one of the most disturbing things that I ever ran into was the proof that the Catholic Church was very aware, and not just the Catholic Church, a number of industries, industries works. But a number of mystical traditions and whatnot, they knew that the feminine was going to rise, and so what they did, like the last 500 years of female oppression, and again, I don't want to sound like one of those male feminists, but let's face it, the Malleus Maleficarum was real, So they spent much of the last 500 years trying to break women's spirit before the feminine could rise, and this is this effort. They would take time and discuss this and say, oh, this is how we're going to break all of this. It's terrifying.
And then what they did is then they put man into everything, or men and everything, menopause and
right.
And
okay.
And hysterectomy and all that, I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but in the like eons ago, when the Earth first formed and we had beings on, like intellectual conscious beings and physical bodies, it was, first of all, everybody's born a female. The genital organs of a child in the womb does not start to form until around 20 weeks. So technically, everybody's a female. And of course, the sex of the baby is determined through the chromosome from the man. Now, during eons ago, our shamans, our high priestesses, our people that did look over and put together all the ceremonies for spiritual things of the earth were women. That's why went from queens ruling the world to kings ruling the world. But it was very much a very feminine ran society everywhere on the globe because women were very sacred, because they were the carrier of men, they were the carrier of life. They brought life into this world. They were very much looked up to. But the thing is, though, during that time, men were just as valuable and just as equal and just as
a good man was
important, was important. And then, so from the research that I did a few years ago, when I was researching really deep into the feminine, the masculine whole, the battle of the sexes, it was something that had to do with a woman that was ruling and an affair with the man, and then the sister, and then the women start to fight amongst each other. And as the women were fighting amongst each other and the royalties and all that, the men came in and just took over.
Yeah, that's actually that story plays out in all of the ancient cultures. Not like all the cultures, like the indigenous cultures and shit like that, although their stories tell that. But like Sumeria, Babylon, Acadia, all of those.
Think about Isis. Look what happened with Isis Set and Isis' twin sister when she came in and disguised herself as Isis and got pregnant and gave birth to Anubis.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Egypt, and then you go Egypt.
And then destroyed her and just created his body and spread it out. So,
but the last switchover. The last switchover from the anima to the animus is still in your records, So it's not like you guys aren't used to. It's not like you don't know, like as a people, that the animus and anima flip. It's just yin yang. And now is the time for the anima. That's just it. That doesn't mean
during the age of Pisces, because we go through the ages. We go through the ages astrologically backwards, so it goes like Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sag, Scorpio. So the ages go backwards, but the sub-periods move forward. So as we are going from age of Pisces into Aquarius, then we go into the sub-periods. And so let's say we start with the age of Pisces. So that period's going this way. Well, the sub-period, that would be the age of the sub-period would be Aries. So that's masculine with the feminine. So during the age of Pisces, because it is a feminine sign and a feminine era, that's when the men rule. That's when masculinity, that's when, the masculine was the uprising and basically the masters and the rulers of the earth. Now that we're coming into a masculine time period, now that's when we need the rise of women. But the thing is it's always supposed to have been an equal balance. So when we're coming from a feminine time period into a masculine, they need the opposition of that feminine to balance it out. Well, it didn't get balanced during the age of Pisces.
Yeah.
So coming into the age of Aquarius, being a masculine, because it's a masculine sign, that's why the uprising and the higher elevation needed for women to match that vibration level out as we're going through that time period, so we don't fuck things up again. So then, so we don't do a flip.
Right.
So that's why there's such a big tug of war between the masculine and feminine, not only with just people and sex, but within ourselves as well.
Right. Well, I know there are several star tribes that are trying to guide humans to, instead of bouncing back and forth between the animus and the anima, to re-achieve the balance you used to have before you got knocked off. And I kind of have hopes for that. That would be pretty sweet.
Also the reason for the rise of the Heyokas, because we have a lot of Heyokas awakening.
Yeah. Oh, and this is something to make you feminists happy. For the first time in history, there are female Heyoka. That's never happened before.
Actually, that's what's waking up. A lot of the Heyokas are either bisexual women or women that are very comfortable within playing both roles, and gay men. A lot of gay men, a lot of gay guys are Heyokas, or bisexual men are Heyokas. But there has been an application arising of female Heyokas just in the last couple of years, because usually Heyokas are usually males because it's the two souls. It's that balance of the feminine and the masculine, the yin and the yang within the one of the sacred clown. But we have female Heyokas awakening because it's part of that balance.
Exactly.
The masculine and Aquarius.
Exactly. It's a very fun time to be alive.
So I noticed that it was 2 years ago. I was like, okay, there's been a rise of Heyokas, because like with you, the first time I ever spoke with you, I could sense that there was a Heyoka in the room, and it wasn't you.
And it wasn't me.
I was thinking it was a feminine energy.
Oh, you're talking about Jenny. Ow!
And
we'll get it. We'll get into the intricacies of that. You can see the big old grin on her face. Jenny likes Melanie a lot. So.
Oh, when first time I ever spoke with Cass, I thought it was he gave the message, and I'm just go off just as if I'm talking to some other female, and I was like, wait a minute. Something's like, wait a minute, Melanie, wait a minute. Because I didn't go look at the profile or anything. Because I saw the big cat, and usually when people have like the cat, I assumed it was a female. It felt like a female, the whole energy of a female. And then when I responded, I was like, that's. And and then that's when I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought I was talking to another woman,
I get that a lot. One of my dearest friends on Facebook. One of my dearest friends on Facebook, the one that provided me with the MRI that sort of launched people believing me. We were friends for like 3 months, I think, before she realized I was that I am me. And when she realized, because she saw my picture, she's like, "You're a guy?" And I'm like, "No, I'm a Heyoka." And she's like, "Okay, congratulations, you broke my Turing test." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, I can always tell." Basically she has the like impeccable gaydar, you know those people.
Yeah, so did I up until a couple years ago.
Oh, what happened?
I think it's because I think the Heyokas threw it off. I think it's just kind of like
okay.
But I used to have wonderful. Now it's all now I just don't know.
Yeah, well, you're still fabulous, so that doesn't matter. But yeah, so this is, by the way, an hour and a half. I think it's a good. Do we want to wind it up or what?
Yeah, we should wind it up. I've got my battery thing just came on, and I've got holy shit tons of notifications here. I still have another I need to finish, and I still got a lot of work to do. I got 3 more hours. I'm going to make myself get it done in 3 hours. But before we go, though, I would like to ancestors. With judgment and judgment card, that's Pluto. That's the awakening of the soul. With 8 of Wands, and that's balancing out that fire and Getting ready to come into that mastery.
Oh, I like that one. That was I love that whole deck.
So that's about definitely tapping into those creative forces to bring in the earthly. That's has a lot to do with like inner child and just being still young at heart, but yet grounding it down.
No, that's an Adam's Family Tarot deck.
We've got transformation, and I'm gonna pull. Hold on here. I got to pull from my Aleister Crowley, my newest one. This one.
So every time somebody mentions Crowley, I just my first instinct is hiss.
So that power, that's balancing and grounding, and being stable on all areas. And this is.
Could you hold that up again?
And then we got Ace of Wands, and that's initiating and starting something, coming into something. That is initiating something, something creating dynamic and within something that you're passionate about. So that's for everybody. Ancestors, connect with your ancestors. Find out who your ancestors are. Yes. Find out your bloodline. Know your blood type, and know know the nationality within it. Know where you come from, because the more you know, it's better too for spiritual things and medical as well as healing. And not because of racism or social stuff, but because you need to know where you come from so you can know where you're going. And also too, and why things are the way they are, and why things happen the way they happen, and just it's a genetic thing too.
Yeah, exactly. God, you look great. Okay, are you happy we finally got this done on your birthday?
Oh my God, I keep forgetting it's my birthday.
I haven't. I've been fantasizing about spanking you the whole episode.
I need some Patron and some wild turkey with some Jaeger and Red Bull and some chocolate cake.
That sounds like a party. Well,
yes.
Plus handcuffs. Anyway, all right. So Andrea, Andrea's back. Okay, gotcha. So yes, we are not exactly.
We have to talk sexual and sex and astrology. We maybe have to pull some charts, and I can call some people out, because I can look at somebody's chart and go. Go and talk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, once
about their hidden pleasures.
Oh yes. Well, once people realize we're doing the show, we're going to get a lot of questions. People have a lot of people are very curious and they want to know.
Touch it. It's okay. It's okay to touch it. It's okay to touch it. Just as long as you're not touching it to your mom or your daddy's picture, it's okay to touch it.
Oh God.
Don't touch your mom or daddy's pictures, you can. Yeah, just touch it. It's not illegal. Don't listen to the priests.
That was nasty. Melissa says, "Happy birthday, Melanie." And Andrea says, "Happy birthday, my love." Oh. So that's why she was like, when you mentioned sex cult, she's like, "I'm in." All right, cool.
Right. Oh, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun show. I'm enjoying this. What was that?
This is great. So we're going to have to do this twice a week.
Oh,
Three times a week. Remember, really good, healthy orgasm 3 times a week. So we have to come on here and, talk about orgasms.
Ooh, indeed. And hopefully we'll get, once we're more comfortable, we'll get into a lot more spicy stuff. Like, cut to commercial, be right back. The whole 9 yards. Pepsi. Anyhow.
All right, you guys. And then we'll pull cards, of course, and everything. And this is going to be great. We're ready to bring in the year, right?
Yeah.
With some clarity and perspective into things. That's a 2-2. Double up. That's a foursome.
Hey, the more the merrier. Mm-hmm. It gets oh God! I was about to make a joke about Legos and orgies, but let's just leave that there. Key So Graceful says, "Hello, boo."
Oh, hey, Key. Oh God, Key's another one. Key is I just love me. I love me some Keys. I love Key So Graceful and Key Gifted Hands, but yeah, Key So Graceful's awesome. Yes, and she's very sexy, chocolate.
And all I can think of is Keymaster, Gatekeeper. Anyway, so let's cut to the outro card. All right, so folks, thank you for being here. Oh, this is we got to get a new outro card with both of our faces, but whatever. This is what I got. So okay, so I hope you guys like the show. This is our first episode. We're going to be doing this more. Feel free to ask questions. And if you have something you want to discuss, but you don't want us to say your name out, feel free to send us a private message. We can absolutely go, Anonymous wants to know, is your penis supposed to taste like Jell-O? I don't think... Oh, yes, it is? Okay, fair enough. The answer is yes. Congratulations, Jell-O penis. Right. You get the idea. Ooh, yeah, that... Okay, yeah, okay, now you got my face working. My face is going that way. So, good night, everybody. We love you.